Welcome everybody to another episode of Condors Icebreakers. This time I am joined with Condors Center Cooper Marody. And Cooper, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
So the first question, we got to dive in, just something simple. Why the sport of hockey?
Yeah, I've loved hockey ever since I was little. But it's a funny story, actually. My dad actually bought me gear for Christmas, I think, one time when I was really young, and I cried and said I'm not playing. So it's kind of funny how my stubborn nature was back then too. And I guess he kind of just brought me to the rink one day, and then it went from there, and I started to like it. But I'm a stubborn person, so I'm happy he forced me into it and showed me how fun the game is.
Absolutely. And after all these years, what's been your most favorite part of the game?
I don't know. I think the most memorable thing I have in my mind is just growing up playing on the backyard rink. Again, my dad would make a rink every year. And in Michigan, we have snow days from school when it snows a ton. And
we know nothing about that here in
California. Yeah, and it's not buses to travel. So we'd have these snow days and then wake up early, no school. And then I'd invite a bunch of friends over and we just play hockey for hours and hours. And that's where you really develop your skills, develop a love for the game. And I've just been loving it ever since.
Yeah. And there's a lot of nuances to hockey, but if there's something like a weird part of the game or something that if you don't play it, you wouldn't know, what would be your favorite like nuance to this game?
That's a good question. I mean, it's really a fast-paced, really cool game that I think a lot of people just enjoy. I think there's not really a sport like hockey. I think when people don't really know about it and hear like we're skating and balancing on blades and then playing a game with the puck as well, I think people are really interested and kind of shocked of the skill that it takes to do all that. You're kind of putting a lot of things together.
Yeah, and one of your recent goals, I saw that as you got behind the net, you were like on one skate, and I was like, that's like pretty talented. Like people take for granted how hard it is to skate as fast as you guys are and to stay as nimble, and the fact that you guys don't fall as often as I would if I was on the ice. I would say that's pretty great.
Well, it takes a lot of practice, and you can be really great at anything as long as you put the work in.
Well, speaking of greatness, you were obviously coming off a great week and being named the American Hockey League Player of the Week. And I want to ask you in particular, what has been, especially after those first 5 games, those first 5 losses, what has clicked not only with the team, but also with yourself that you guys are just, you feel like it looks like you've hit your midseason stride already this early?
Yeah, I think starting the year, a lot of the other teams had a couple weeks on us and they were in training camp and practicing, even playing a lot of preseason games where we didn't get to do that. We were a week of practice and we were right into games and whatnot. So I think for us, it just took a little time for us to really feel comfortable. And we liked what we did a lot of in those first 5 games, but we just didn't get the result we wanted. So things are just really starting to click for us. Everybody's feeling comfortable. And there's a lot of guys who haven't played pro hockey before. And then with my line, Benny and Clowder are so good, just so skilled, see the ice so well, can make plays, can score. They just are the full package, really. And it's really been easy for me to step in there and play with those guys. And we enjoy playing with each other. And we want to keep it going for sure.
Hot take, is this the best line in hockey right now?
I don't know we're just trying to be the best we can every day.
It's working. So with the Condors, there's a lot of history with this franchise and a lot of love that goes into from the community that goes into this team. But what's been your favorite part about the years and seasons that you've had under your belt with the Condors?
It's been a phenomenal 3 years for me. Just coming to the rink every day is so fun. We have phenomenal staff, starting from Jay Woodcroft all the way to our equipment manager Al Ullman, and our everybody around the team has been so phenomenal to work with. And it's fun. I think everybody likes to come to the rink and get better. And then all the guys are great. And then I guess obviously I'd like to add, can't hate the weather. I mean, walking out of the rink every day and it's 70 degrees and sunny. Growing up in Michigan, you didn't really get that in February, so it's something that I really enjoy.
Yeah, you hockey players here in Cali get the best of both worlds.
No doubt.
For sure.
No doubt.
And your long career already, I mean, I know you're still rather young, but you played hockey for the majority of your life. What's your favorite year from hockey or your favorite memory that you're going to take with you throughout your career?
I think the first thing that comes to my mind was making it to the Frozen Four with Michigan. I grew up my whole life wanting to play for Michigan and going to games when I was a kid, and just hoping, praying that I'd get to play for Michigan someday. And it worked out, and I got to make it to the Frozen Four. And then also another memory was obviously my first NHL game was something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And then another one is the 17-game win streak we had the first year with the Condors. That was phenomenal. That was so much fun.
Yeah, and speaking of that, that's a good transition. What goes into pulling off wins like that? I mean, that's incredible, the number of 17, but obviously you guys are stringing some together currently as we tape this. So what goes into being successful on a consistent basis, especially at this level in hockey?
Not really being content with where you're at and always trying to improve something within our game. And I think our coach, Jay Woodcroft, does a really good job with that. Is although we might be having success lately, that doesn't mean that we're just going to, have a nice little party and enjoy ourselves. Say, wow, we're doing so well, guys. We want to improve on the little things that we can and never take an opponent for granted. And I think if we come to the rink with that mindset, we're going to be successful and we'll be able to string a lot of wins together.
No doubt. And I wanted to ask, we talked about the nuances of the game, what you loved about the game. What's the biggest misconception that people have about hockey players that you just want to put to rest right now?
I don't know. Maybe that all hockey players are just tough, hard-Os and don't have another side to them. I think there's been a lot of really nice guys that I've played with and guys that have a lot more to them than just hockey, and they're really nice people. So I think although we may act tough on the ice and maybe look tough walking around or whatever, there's a lot of great guys.
Yeah. And in your story in particular, obviously you have another passion in music. And I want to know what's a little bit more tough, the performance on the ice or performance when you're either recording in studio or if you've ever performed live. What gets you the most nervous?
Honestly, I feel pretty comfortable on the ice, and I've worked at it my whole life, and this hockey's number one for me. So I don't know. Probably the most nervous I've been is like recording vocals in front of a producer who's produced for number one country artists. So that was something like, I just do this as much as I can. I'm trying to be the best I can at it, but hockey's number one for me. So that was definitely something that I've been most I had the most nerves doing.
Yeah, no doubt. I can only imagine if someone had made me perform singing, I would lose my mind. I'd lose my mind if someone was like, get on the ice and play hockey.
Yeah.
So if you were not playing hockey, Cooper, I may know the answer to this, may not though, you may shock us. What would you be doing with your career?
I went to school at Michigan, and I'm working on finishing my degree, a political science degree. So maybe something in politics, and then maybe thinking about going to law school after I'm done playing hockey. So music, I don't quite know yet. I'm just really enjoying what I'm doing right now. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think the fans are enjoying you too. So don't give up too quickly.
Yeah.
All right, Cooper. So we're switching gears now. We're putting you in the hot seat. I made this joke with Brad and he took it way too literally, but I asked him if his seat was getting hot over there and he legitimately thought it was. So we won't do that with you. But rapid fire questions. I want to start, and this is interesting. I usually have been asking Canadian players, but you, an American hockey player, playing in Michigan, what's better food, Canadian food or American?
Definitely American, without a doubt.
Okay. Who's the most musical on your team right now?
Ooh, wow. Believe it or not, this might be a hot take here, but Seth Griffith actually has a pretty solid voice.
Awesome. Can we get a band out of this year?
We'll see.
I'd love that. Okay. Favorite sports movie of all time?
Probably it's kind of a sports movie, but Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell, the soccer movie.
I guess we'll count it.
Yeah.
If someone was to play you in a movie, who would that be?
Oh, geez. I'm just going to plead the fifth on this one because I don't have an answer for that.
I'll have to ask your teammates for that one. Yeah. What's your favorite thing to do off the ice?
That's a good question. I really enjoy obviously doing music, but I really like to watch YouTube and like historical things and learn about that and read as well.
Okay, so one of those smart hockey players. What's your biggest pet peeve?
That's a good question too. I'd probably just say that people who disrespect people who are lower in society than them.
That's a good answer. I know I was going to say, I was like, your wrist shot is probably faster than your rapid fire questions, but I love your answers. Who has the best accent, or what's your favorite accent on this team?
I like Safin. He's a funny guy.
Can you give us a taste of it?
I don't know. I don't want to offend him there.
I got you on that. What's the hardest part about hockey that people might not know, or at least for you?
I think that the season, it's tough to, we play a lot of games and practicing every single day. So it's obviously tough on the body coming to the rink, and I don't know. It gets tough on the body. I think a lot of people don't really take that into consideration, but it's definitely throughout the season, you have bumps and bruises that you got to battle through.
For sure. If you weren't, but you are playing hockey, but what's your favorite sport to watch other than hockey?
I love football.
Football. Okay. If you're stranded on a deserted island and you had to take one of your teammates with you, who would that be and what would you bring?
Oof, that's a tough one.
A real hot seat.
Trying to think if anybody has any survival skills on the team.
So far, it's all been about the beer, so I don't think so.
Oh Lord. Geez, that's a really good question. I'll just take Brad Malone. You mentioned him earlier. He's a funny guy. He'd be positive, get us through it.
Yeah, and what would you bring to survive on that island, or what would you want to have for entertainment?
Fishing pole, so you can catch fish.
There you go. Who has the best celebration after scoring?
Best celebration. I don't think anybody's really celebrated. It's different because when there's fans, guys like to celebrate. So not so much without fans. I'm trying to think. I should have prepared for this. I should have had the questions ahead of time, but I couldn't give you an answer. I'd have to see with fans. I have no answer there.
Okay, well, I encourage you, if you're going to keep scoring the way you are, let's start seeing some better celebrations.
I agree.
Bring the energy. We don't have the fans anymore. It's got to come from you guys. Okay, so who's your sports role model, either currently or someone you had growing up?
100% Tom Brady. He was a guy who went into Michigan. He was a 6-string quarterback, worked his way up the ladder, and was a 6th-round draft pick. And obviously we know what he is now. So he's someone I look up to for sure.
Okay. On this team, who has the best scoring ability or the prettiest shot, something that you admire from your teammates?
I think Jax has the best shot. I mean, he's scored this year, but he just can rip the puck.
Awesome. Okay, we have made it, Cooper, to the 23rd question.
Okay.
So this segment is called Icebreakers. So if you could break the ice with any person, any way, how would you break the ice?
I have a really cute 5-6 pound dog, so maybe just have him come with me, and that'll lighten the mood up for sure.
You have won this. I've never got that answer, and a dog always wins.
Yeah, thank you.
So before we go, do you want to sing us a new song or anything, or not today?
It was a hard day of practice. My voice is kind of hoarse, so maybe another day.
Okay, just promise me that when you guys get this band, you and Griff or whoever else is on the team, I get first dibs at whatever it is, performance, recording. Just
there we go. We'll do it live, on air.
Hey, I'm down with that. I mean, it might have to be Zoom, but I mean, we can still make it work.
We'll work it out.
All right, Cooper. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining me for Icebreakers.
Yep.